Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's May 30th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this is going to wrap it up for the week. Just a reminder, I'll be leaving Friday for my annual trip to Brazil, so I need to take tomorrow off and to get prepared and get ready for my trip. So I will not be coming into the office. Will not be trading tomorrow. So no mid-morning chart lesson and or no mid-morning chart posted and no daily chart lesson on YouTube, and won't be a new uh, mid-morning chart or chart lesson until I return on June 10th. So it'll be June 11th before we'll have another lesson or another chart posted on the website. So basically nothing Thursday and Friday and nothing all of next week. So just make sure you make that on your calendar. If you will, just hold any emails, no questions, trading questions and stuff. Just please hold that for me if you would till I get back, and that way I won't be too swamped, and you won't have something that's sitting out there that by the time I actually get a chance to answer, you will have forgotten what you probably asked me anyway. So um, I would appreciate that, and I'll try to answer email any emergencies that I need to. But if you don't hear from me, don't panic. I'll get to it. It just may take me a day or so. But generally, I have email access down there, and I check my email daily for just emergencies. That's the only thing I will respond to. But sometimes the email is not as spotty, and sometimes it doesn't work well. So you just never know. So anyway, if you don't hear from me, don't panic. I will get to you when I get back, and I will have a auto reply on my email that just reminds people in case they didn't see the videos that I'll be gone. But anyway, let's talk about the trades today. Wrap up today, and this is going to do it. We had one leg up here and then a correction, and so instantly I'd be looking for at least a measured move, which you see that. But we went much higher than that. I mean, this was a trend really from the get-go today. Let me back out again. I pulled out too quick. I mean, really from the get-go, it was up all day. We went a little flat here, but notice you got this shorter-term channel working up. You get a break, a new high, and then we corrected for about an hour before the trend started working again. And early on, I just didn't really see much in these first two swings. We didn't really get it confirmed here until 9:30, and then it was pretty obvious from there on. You could have got it early on off this high and pulled this down, but you wouldn't have got it confirmed until 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. And even then, it still wasn't. You couldn't be certain, but you can see it's playing off this midline all the way up, and we didn't get back to that trend line. The trend line really didn't help you again until here. You had to use your shorter term stuff. So really, other than it taking off right here, that's all this bigger channel helped. The rest of the time, you really had to use your shorter term stuff, and this has kind of been typical lately. We get a little overnight trend, and then we go flat, and so you couldn't be sure that we weren't going to stay flat today. So I played this basically as a range until here, until we broke higher right here, and then it was obvious we were going higher. So anyway, that's the way I looked at it early on. I was giving the range more credence early on, having played out, but it still play. You get your break, move to a new high. We go by a new high by one tick there, and then we correct it for about an hour, and it takes off again. And that's generally, that's the minimum correction you normally expect, about an hour's worth or so. But let's talk about the trades, and we'll wrap it up, and we'll be done until I get back on back in the office on June 11th. So. Um, First few trades, you had to be patient this morning. I really didn't mark a red or blue trade until after 9 o'clock this morning. It really was just kind of flat here, and you had to be kind of careful. This one's close. Notice this is the first break of this. Let me make this a little darker just so it's clear here. It's the first break of this trend line right here, and you got a bullish bar right here, but there's been a close outside a new low, but it's not a real convincing close. Maybe the trend line was a little steeper. Even if you drew a little steeper, you still get a break here, but you never make a new low But with this making a higher low and being a relatively bullish type bar, reversal type bar, I like going long there. It's right into the EMA. It is a second entry long too. There's no break higher until right here the second time. So it's a second entry long when we're looking for a possible retest of the highs. So you might take that one. I marked it green though. There's a reversal here, but look how that's stacking up. And I marked this one green just simply because it confirms that trend line again. You got two touches there and you get a third touch right there. And if you draw it off these highs, it kind of fits. But it's not real, it's just not a real, there's a lot of congestion right there. But there is a little double test right here and it bounces right off the EMA. And all of these bars are relatively bullish. So you may take that, and it is a second entry. There's pullback first, pullback second, but it's so flat, I wasn't crazy about it. So again, I marked it green, although you might have considered it. And of course, we run up and we make, we don't quite make a new high yet, and then we make a lower high, but there's no break of this trend channel right here yet, and that's basically a doji. And so you don't want to go short there. And then this bar, this is a second entry when it breaks above here, and this is really your signal bar, although you could have used this one. I'm not crazy about it. I didn't want to mark it either because we just came off what looks like the high of some resistance, so we may come back down here to the low, and you don't want to get trapped there. You make a little trap right here, but then it's right back into the resistance, so you don't want to go long there. Then, of course, you're working lower again. And this doesn't look very good. You get a failed breakout in a lower high, but now you're right in the middle of that. Not a very good, even though it breaks higher, it can't break lower, and then there's a couple of ticks right there. Let me make this a little bigger. It's kind of hard to see. That just wasn't bearish enough for my taste. And again, it's right into some support right across there. Basically, there's probably a midline there. I don't have it drawn on there, but you can see there's a midline in there. It looks like it's really right there. And this probably, you might could argue that's a little higher, and it's kind of equal. But I moved it down here where that close and the most touches were. But you see that there is a midline in there, and it probably fits right there too as well. And so you got to be careful getting short in the middle of this stuff. You want to go short off the highs or long off the lows when you're in a range. And then we bounce here again, too neutral a bar, basically going flat. Then we give it a double test. You really get you might even look at this as a double test, but that's a low. So you don't break higher and then come back down to here. So this is your true double test. And we try to go lower twice. So and that's a bullish bar. I like that one. So we're probably headed to the upper side. We break out up here, and this is a failed break. I marked this one red, but it really probably should be green. But that's a nice bearish bar, and we're a long way away from the EMA, and it's a failed break higher. You might have moved this up to here by that point, and so it's a failed break higher. Either way you got it, in the end, I think it still fits better right here, so I moved it back down. I had it up there at one time, but I like that one just to ride it back to the EMA. We may go to back to the other side of the trading range here. So this turns out to be a pretty good trade. We make a higher low right here, and you may say, well, that's a really bearish bar, but let me show you something. This is a double bottom, so there's a new low. That's a first entry and a correction and a failed second entry short. And it does confirm that trend line. Now we've got 1, 2, 3 touches right there. So if prices break above that, we're probably going back to at least here, and we may go higher. And look how we've got all the way back there in one bar. That fooled a lot of people right there. And guaranteed, because a lot of people were playing this range, and they were looking for prices to come back down here most likely, because it really looks like that's where it's headed. I don't have my trend line on there, but you probably won't have a trend line. But when it failed to go lower there, I like going long. And then there's a double bottom again, so you're moving up. First entry, then second entry, long, short that fails, and it actually goes lower and turns and goes out the upper side. I'd wait on this bar to finish, and just a break of it, I'd go with it. And again, it takes off. There's a failed second entry short right there, but I don't like, we've moved a good ways. We're way away from the EMA. I don't think you're wise entering there, even though it would have worked. We come back, first entry long, first break of the trend line, we move to a new low, and it actually goes lower and turns and goes out the upper side. You could wait on this bar to finish and put a buy stop above it, or when it went above, you might just have a buy stop already waiting right above this bar just in case. I like that one. Then you get a higher low here. I was a little leery of this one because we're kind of going sideways again here, although we're still all above the EMA. And the other reason I made it green is because it's right into this little double top here. So I was a little bit leery of it. Wait on the reversal, which comes here. Notice we pushed on up and you try to go lower again. And it bounces where it looks like there's probably a trend line right there. And failed second entry short, and off it goes again, and you get a nice move up here. We correct back, and you actually had a close outside here, but this may be a little flatter than the way I've got it drawn. But generally when it gaps like that, it's gapping over a trend line. You can see it gapped there, and it does fit perfectly up there. But maybe this one's just a little lower, and then everything closes perfectly. So you just didn't get a touch there. It doesn't get confirmed to here that way. But either way, I still don't like entering here because there's just so many dojis in there and bars with. You can see that, and it goes up on a first entry, then it comes back down. This one was a little tempting because there are two legs back, and it's a second entry long right here. You make a little higher high right there, but that's still two legs back. But by the time that you get that bullish bar, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars stacked up. That's basically a doji. And that one's close. They're all bearish. So just wait, and then guess what happens? You go a little bit lower. Notice you got that trend line working up. You get a close outside, a move to a new low, and it looks like it's going to reverse. I like going long right there on that second end. And that turns out to be another nice move. You come up and you try to go short first time and then second time. So again, you got a failed second entry short right there, and it's bouncing basically off the EMA. There's a 2-bar matching low. I like going long right there. It's only good for a scalp, and then we're going sideways again. There is a double test right here off of this high and a small bearish bar. I'm probably not going to risk that. You could probably argue for that to be at least green, but it's been all uphill and relatively strongly off and on all day. So, you're taking a chance, but that double test is usually pretty strong. You try to go higher once, twice, 3 times. That's a relatively bearish bar, so you may go short right there. And you could even argue for it to almost be red. I didn't even like marking it just because it's in an uptrend, and there's been no break of this major 2-tiered channel, although we're probably headed back to this other side. And you can see once we got there, we didn't bounce though. We finally got our break, and we never really made a retest of the highs there. So, but we actually get one more chance to go long here. Notice you got to test once, and then this is your second test, and that's the first time it broke higher, even though there's multiple bars there. So this is a double test again, and when prices broke higher on this bar, I'd be good with a buy stop. I wouldn't wait till this bar because now you're going long right into those highs. You might let it break higher and drop a limit order, but this has been a fairly strong trend, and with that being a double test, I'd probably be okay just with a buy stop right there. But again, you're probably better off to try to get a little better entry, because once it went higher, if you didn't catch it there and you wait till it comes back, then you got burned on it. So you really you didn't want to wait on this to come back here, but to get long. You needed to get long in this bar somehow, some way. So, and you may not have been able to and have enough room to get out there, but if you could, it's, you can call that one blue. So, fairly nice day. Mostly, like I said, it was mostly all uphill all day, even though you could argue there was a secondary or more minor trend here, trend channel, this darker blue. Of course, it's a little steep too. So we get the break, a new high, and then we're just kind of going sideways really through this whole correction here. And then it finally finds support off a bigger trend, two-tiered channel here and goes higher. And unfortunately, this bigger channel just really didn't help you because we never really came back to it till here, and that's after 2 o'clock. So it just doesn't help you. You have to use your shorter term stuff in there. That's a bigger, much bigger pattern there that just doesn't really help you with our style of entry because we didn't come back. The market was too strong to come back to the trend line. I mean, really, look, we're above the EMA all the way. We got about, there's your first hint we might be running out of steam because we finally got a little bit below the EMA, and then we're back above it, and before we get below it again. So the EMA, we couldn't get below it. So that's telling you it's a strong market. And notice we're just kind of creeping up between the EMA and midline here of this two-tiered channel, and that's telling you the market's pretty strong. So and of course if you were just looking for a measured move, we were looking for this level here. And interesting enough, notice that's where we're at now, back at that measured move. And notice how we did have a pretty good sell-off right there, so people were obviously probably watching that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the week. We're done until I get back from vacation. Again, I won't be back in the office until June the 11th, and that's assuming that all my flights on the way back, my overnight international flights, there's no issues with them. We have had issues sometimes where the flights are canceled or delayed, and we get delayed getting back a day or so. Hopefully that won't happen though, and I'll be back on schedule and be back in the office on June the 11th. Hope everybody had a good week. Hope you have a great week next week while I'm out. Hopefully I won't miss too much anything exciting. But we'll be back again on June the 11th. But I'm done for now. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.